Dan here, welcome to Reviewable. This week we're going to talk about the 2008 movie Pontypool. It's about a zombie apocalypse that is promulgated through language. We have nothing to fear.
This is Radio 660, The Beacon. I'm Grant Mazzy, and as always, I'll be taking no prisoners. And taking a look outside, a big, cold, freaking kill-me-now weather front that'll last all day. We go to Ken Loney in the Sunshine Chopper. Ken, are you there, Ken?
This building has just been exploded. Oh, my God! Hundreds of people are getting killed down there.
Soldiers have set up roadblocks.
Everybody has to stay inside at all times. They cut into our signal.
Ken?
And their eyes. He's looking at me.
Pontypool is a movie that's actually based on a book that was written by Tony Burgess in 1985. And I just read, I didn't know this, but it was actually part of a trilogy of 3 books. I have no idea what the other books are, but this is the second book. And then, of course, it was made into this movie. Maybe this is the whole culmination of all 3 books or something. I'm not sure. I will tell you, I bought the book and read it because I love the movie so much. I love the ideas and thinking about those guys. And I'm not a voracious reader or anything like that. I do like to read on occasion, especially if there's something that interests me. But I found the book incomprehensible, probably because I'm stupid. I didn't really get anything out of the book. I was hoping that it was going to expand the universe for me of this Pontypool story, and so I could maybe understand a little bit. And I think that's part of the reason why I like this movie so much, is I don't necessarily think I understand what the intention of it is. But I think sometimes that is what good art does, is it makes you continue to ponder and think about what the actual intention of the story is. If that is the intention, that movie serves its purpose for me. This movie is directed by Bruce McDonald. I've never heard of the guy. I know he's done like series work and things like that, and I think that most of the cast is Canadian. And the story actually takes place in Canada, in a small Canada town. The main actor in this movie is Stephen McHattie, and Stephen McHattie also plays the retired superhero in Watchmen that is always reminiscing about the good old days when he was in his prime as a superhero, and he ends up getting assaulted and killed by some thugs. McHattie is very good in this movie. He is very convincing in actively conveying that he's confused and doesn't understand what's going on. He doesn't understand what he's seeing and hearing. You also have the impression that he is actually trying to figure out things. He's paying attention, and he's leaping to conclusions, or he's connecting the dots between the things that he's observing to try and solve this mystery of how or what is happening to the people that are being affected by this virus. Lisa Houle plays Sydney Breyer in this, and she's like the producer. She's the lady that's running the whole show or whatever. And then Georgina Riley plays Laurel Ann Drummond. She's like a Afghanistan war vet, and she's also like the technical guru. She's the one that's running the soundboard and pushing all the buttons and answering the phones and all that kind of stuff. Both these people actually do a great job too, as far as pushing the narrative, responding to what's going on in the movie. You see the confusion on their face. I particularly like Georgina Riley's performance as Laurel Ann Drummond. I don't know what it is about her, but she seems very genuine. She's very motivated about doing her job. You can tell she's like loves to do what she's doing. She's excited to be working with Mazzy, who's supposed to be like this shock jock radio guy. Obviously has some kind of pull or whatever. And then later on, when she is also trying to make sense of what's going on, what they're hearing, the people they're talking to on the radio, you can see her trying to work things out. You can see the wheel spinning in her head that she's trying to also figure out what's going on. Part of the thing in this movie, the mechanism for the virus to spread is that you actually understand certain words. Once you speak or understand that word that is infected, you are then infected, and you're going to be caught in this loop where your mind is preoccupied with this repetition of repeating this word that you have now just understood. It's almost like a computer processing too many cycles, and you like when you got to restart your computer, or you got too many tabs open on it just keeps opening tabs or whatever, and it starts eating all the resources out of your brain, and that's what this virus seems to do. Alright, so Pontypool is probably the weirdest damn movie, or the hardest movie I've ever had to review, because it deals with abstracts. Pontypool, in the beginning, you see Mazzy coming into work, and he has a weird encounter with this lady, and she repeats what he says to her, and it leaves him a little freaked out, I think. But he uses this to kind of help prompt him with his show. He asks Laurel Ann, the sound engineer, to look up 911 calls to build upon his show for that day, for that morning, or whatever it is. And he carries on the day. Pretty much almost all the conversations in the show serve a purpose to show you how, and this is just my interpretation. It'd be interesting to know what your interpretation, if you watch this movie. I would love to hear if you agree with me on this. But I think every conversation in this movie serves to show you how we say things we don't mean, and we mean things we don't say. For instance, one of the things you find out is that they keep talking about Ken Loney in the Sunshine Chopper. But he's not actually in the Sunshine Chopper. He's in a Dodge Dart on the top of some damn hill, and he plays sound effects so that it sounds like he's in a helicopter reading the weather, you know? Now that's just a minor instance, but on personal things, we tell people things that we don't mean. We tell them that we understand. We tell them that we love them. But it's more than that, too. It's also the idea that when we are using language, we are explaining our internal workings to somebody, but we're also explaining the world we see and the world that we interact with somebody. And I know this is all freaking weird, okay? It's hard to explain this, and it can be this deep of a movie for you, or it can simply be the type of movie that is, you go and watch it, and it's a movie about a zombie apocalypse that is promulgated through speech, through certain words that are infected, and that's it. And there's not hordes of zombies on screen wasting people left and right. It's all done through Mazzy reading stories or narrating kind of what's going on, because he's basically reading the news. He's our orifice for everything that is happening in the movie. But for me, the reason why I like this movie so much is because it makes you think of those things. It makes you think about the abstract ideas that how do you explain to somebody what love is? I mean, if I tell you, or if I say love, you know what love is. But really, when you think of love, you were thinking of your version of love. Maybe not my version. And I know maybe that's kind of weird, but it is the truth. Certain things mean different things to other people. So that's what I find interesting. And I think one of the things that is really well done through the performances of McHattie and the other characters, especially when you can tell that they've been contaminated by this bug, by this disease, when they speak a word that has been infected. Like the first instance of that we are exposed to is you see Mazzy. He goes into some kind of weird loop. He's talking to Ken Loney, who has just observed a very strange instance where this man is been hurt, and he's making baby sounds. And this is, to me, probably one of the spookiest parts of the movie, because it's so weird. and you hear it, and you hear this. They're telling you that this is an adult man, big guy, making this sound. It sounds like a baby saying baby sounds, saying mommy and stuff like that. And you can see the Mazzy character is dumbfounded. He has no idea what to make of this. You can see he gets stuck in his thought process, kind of like when I was saying when you're looking for a word and you can't think of it. In fact, I was trying to think of a word today for my review when I was going to talk about this. I was trying to think of the word abstract. I could not think of it for the life of me. And I was thinking of every other word. Like, it's that point when it's on the tip of your tongue and you cannot let it go because you want to think of the word. I think that is, if this virus is real, that's how you would know that you're infected. Because, and maybe that's part of the point. Like, when I was sitting there, I was like, wow, if this virus is real, maybe I would be infected right now. Because abstract, once I finally hit that word, maybe that would mean that I was infected. Anyway, weird, but I think it's cool. And I would love to get your thoughts as to see if you think that's cool or not. Like I said, I think it's cool in that deep level to look at a movie like this. McHattie, the Mazzy, the performance in him figuring things out and his confusion when he is exposed the first time is crazy good, in my opinion. So after that happens, you see when he freaks out and he wants to get the hell out of there, because I think he doesn't think what is happening is real. He's in a self-contained world in the studio, and so he wants to get the hell out of there. He does actually attempt to leave. They go and open the doors to the studio, and I think he thinks somebody's playing a trick on him, legitimately playing a trick on him, but it's scaring the shit out of him. I think it's almost like the War of the Worlds, Orson Welles radio broadcast, and it freaked everybody out in the 50s, I think it was, the radio show, and people actually thought like aliens were going to land and conquer the Earth. There was a famous radio broadcast in like 54 or something like that. And anyway, so he does actually get up and go, and they open the door, and of course the producer and Laurel Ann follow him and are like, I mean, he's freaking out on him. And he just says, I just want to know that what is happening is actually happening. When they do that, some of these infected people, they don't actually show them. They close the door in time, and then they're beating on the door, on the windows and stuff like that. And so then he has his confirmation. It's like once he has his confirmation and he knows that he's not crazy and that this is actually happening and that people are not just messing with him, then he's resolved to report on it and figure it out. And it's cool, I think, the switch in that for that character is all of a sudden, and it's also because the other people, Laurel and Sydney, starts freaking out too. The producer, she starts freaking out, and I think once he sees that, they're also kind of starting to react the way he is. That they're just as freaked out as he was. It makes it all real for him, and now he's got like this purpose maybe. So then he starts to go to figure it out. Shortly after that is when we start learning a lot more about the virus and how it infects people, and they actually get to see it. And he goes back and he starts reading the obits, and they start showing you kind of these black and white images of these people. And obviously I don't think they would have obits for these people that have been dying because this epidemic is going on. But I think the whole purpose of this is, since the movie is only set in the radio station outside the beginning when he's driving into work, they're showing you that real people are affected by this, and they're actually showing you like these black and white video of these people standing there, the kids, a couple of old ladies or whatever, and talking about how before they died they might have taken a few people with them and they killed other people, and it's not just it's kids, like I said, it's men, women, and kids too, and they're killing other people. So I think that's just what's to make it kind of real for you and show you that the stakes, it's affecting everybody equally. So anyway, then Laurel Ann is having a conversation with Sydney, and she gets stuck on a word, and some about missing Mr. Mazzy, and she's confusing these words, and you can see the confusion, and she gets caught. As she's kind of getting stuck, Dr. Mendez is coming through the window, and he's the guy whose office was basically exploded with people. It seems to be where maybe this epidemic started. Maybe he's the cause of it. I don't think we ever really truly ever get to know what actually starts this epidemic. They end up having to go back into the sound booth because the doctor sees that Laurel Ann is in this weird space right now where she's like repeating stuff, and actually she's imitating a tea kettle is what she's doing. She's latched on to this sound that is currently occupying her. And so he's seen this before, so he takes them all into the sound booth, and he starts reporting again about what they're going through, and he actually starts talking about how she kind of comes to, and she's looking around for them, and she kind of goes nutso, and basically ends up smashing her face into the glass. And what it is I think she's looking for more input. She's looking for more conversations, more words, and she's not getting any because they're all in the soundproof booth or whatever. And at the same time, when they're in there, Mazzie's explaining this that Laurel Ann is sick and she's not doing well. And at the same time, they talk to Ken Loney calls back in, and he's reporting that this kid that made the baby sounds is now passed away, and he starts talking gibberish too. He starts mixing his words up, kind of like what I was talking to you about when I couldn't think of the word abstract. I was thinking of every word but that, or like, when I was saying your parents will go through every kid's name before they get to yours. I don't know if you'll like this movie. I hope it kind of freaks out a little bit. I hope it makes you think about what you mean and how language is a door into reality. And I don't think most people will look at it into it that deep. I think you can get that much out of it if you want to. But I also think you can watch this movie and just be like, wow, that was weird, but I still like it. And I think on the surface, I do like it just for that too, because I think the performances are so awesome. But I also think that the uniqueness and the vessel for the zombie apocalypse to be transferred in this movie is so unique that is one of the things I find interesting about it too. One thing to note about this is I have no idea who did the music for this movie, but I think it does a very good job. It's almost environmental. Sometimes it sounds almost environmental, but it really does a great job of, in my opinion, building the suspense and building the atmosphere for the movie and pushing the narrative. It kind of reminds me a lot of the music for the John Carpenter's The Thing. Again, it's very atmospheric. It's not, I wouldn't say it's musical. It almost acts as sound effects, and I just really like it a lot. The other thing I want to say is when you do watch this movie and you get to the end, maybe I would like to know what you think that movie's actually about, other than zombies, if you get what I get out of it, or if you think it's stupid or whatever. But watch past the end credits, because there's I like the end. It's at the end credits, there's another, I don't know, maybe 30-second scene where reality has been shattered and they're living in a new reality where they can't think the way that they used to, so they don't become infected by the virus. They have had to change all of the meanings for, at least that's what I think that the end part is saying, is that they have had to shatter their own reality to survive in the reality where this virus exists through the English language. They can't understand things, because if they do, they will become infected. If you think this review made any sense or it speaks to you in any way, let me know. And do me a favor and like and share and ring the bell and all that good stuff for my show. I'm trying to grow this show, and I got like 3 people that watch it right now, and I appreciate those 3 people, let me tell you. Thank you very much for joining me on this review of Pontypool. See you next time.